Housing, Health, and Education Committee. I am the chair, Councilwoman Barbara Shanklin. With me, the vice chair is Councilman Stuart Benson, Councilmember Tammy Hawkins, Councilmember Dan Symes, Councilmember Jenny Woolridge. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. You got to say that?
This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A, read in full.
Okay, thank you. We only have one piece of legislation today, but we do have a special discussion. So the piece of legislation, can you read it, Madam Clerk?
Sure. Item 2, a resolution honoring Reverend Dr. Jeffrey S. Ellis by dedicating the northwest corner of 19th Street and Cedar Street as Reverend Dr. Jeffrey S. Ellis Way in his honor. Read in full.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Motion, Winkler.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Councilman Kernan, you want to speak on this?
Yes, ma'am. Just very briefly, Reverend Ellis just passed away a few months ago. Was a resident of Russell, a graduate of Central High School, as the resolution says. His reputation was, and his memory shall be, so transcend the district. He was just the finest of fine men, and we are very honored to support this resolution.
Thank you. I did not know that Reverend Ellis passed away. Yeah. Now, he's the one that was on the Housing Authority board.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Right, Tammy? But I didn't know he had passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. Do we have any questions or concerns? Okay, so we will vote on this. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
No no's. So this will go to the consent calendar. Okay. Is that, you wanted to go to consent calendar? Okay, thanks. The next piece, we don't have any more legislations, but we do have a special discussion, and it's with Kentucky and Works, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you identify yourself for the clerk?
Yes, ma'am. Mic on? It is, right? Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Michael Gritton, the Executive Director of Kentuckiana Works.
Thank you. Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So, members of the committee, thank you for letting me do this. It seemed a good time to come back and do it, particularly because there are a lot of new members on the council who is Kentuckiana Works? What do you do? How does this work? I want to say a special greeting to Councilwoman Mulvey Woolridge, whose mother used to work on my team at Kentuckiana Works. So I've known her since her kids were little in my office, and they're not so little anymore. So greetings and welcome. I just wanted to introduce you all to who we are. Workforce development comes up all the time. You all know on the economic development side, this question comes up, where's the talent going to come from? How's this work? So I just wanted to roll through a quick slide deck to show you all who we are, what we do, and hopefully make it more familiar for you all about what Kentuckiana Works is and how we try to serve you, particularly because we get about a third of our budget from the city, and I want to make sure you all are aware of that as you're approaching budget season. There's a federal law that creates workforce boards. It's called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. There are 10 of those workforce boards in Kentucky. You see the map here where we are. These are the names of the other 9 boards that are in the state. There are about 550 of them around the country. Our vision is really simple. We want a fully prepared and engaged workforce that's aligned with the needs of employers. And we wake up every day worrying about how to do that and how to figure that out. For adults, I want to make sure you all know there is a comprehensive career center that is now in the West Louisville Opportunity Center, the Goodwill West Louisville Opportunity Center at 28th and Broadway. We're the corner tenant. We helped almost 400 people get jobs last year at an average wage of $18 an hour, and that number fluctuates with the economy. But for all of your constituents, there are talented and trained people in that career center. It's open, it's free to anybody that walks through the door, and you see these services. We have career workshops. We help people get their resume together. We're aware of jobs that are open. We do that work all day long, every day, and we're happy to do it. When we have additional federal money, we sometimes are able to provide job training scholarships to people And at the moment, there's about $1 million that's available through that Career Center if people want to go back and go to nursing school, if they want to get a CDL, if they want to get a welding certificate, those kinds of things are eligible. So if you have constituents that come to you and say, hey, I'd like to know, is there some way I could go back to school and you could help me? That's the place to send them. We can't always say yes, but if they're eligible and we've got money, we're happy to do it. We also use some of that. I'm trying to clarify for you all as I go through what you pay for and what others pay for. That Career Center stuff is totally paid for by the federal government and the core law that funds us. We are also using some of that federal money to fund a construction training program that the Louisville Urban League runs for us. It's called Kentuckiana Builds. It's a 6-week training program. People earn multiple certifications in that program. You see the national credentials from NCCER and the OSHA 10. They also are eligible for dual credit at JCTC if they decide they want to go back to school. Last year, we helped 79 people get jobs in construction at an average wage of almost $20 an hour. We do target underrepresented groups, African Americans and women in particular, but it's open to all. But we're trying to sort of address the fact that the population of Louisville is 20% African American, and the construction field has 5% African Americans in the field. So that is a conscious thing that we're trying to do, but it's clearly open to all, and we've served people from all walks of life. Again, if you know somebody that wants to get in construction, totally free. Classes are starting every 2 months. Deep connections to construction employers, to unions in town, all that kind of thing. The city funds a program called Code Louisville. We have been helping to train people to get jobs in technology, particularly in software development, since 2013. We have now helped over 1,100 people get jobs in technology at an average wage of over $50,000 a year through Code Louisville. These are the 4 pathways that people can pursue. Just want you to know we're still doing that. There's a wait list of people that want to get into it. We're trying to make sure the size of the class matches the demand on the side in terms of employers, but we're very proud of the work and we appreciate the support from the city on that. We have been getting American Rescue Plan funding from the city to fund something we call Reentry Works. It's run for us by a national nonprofit called the Center for Employment Opportunities, CEO. You may have seen they've done a lot of work with Dare to Care. They're doing some work. They work with people who come straight out of state prison, and they are trying to connect them to immediate work and wraparound services that gets people on a path that keeps them from becoming a person that reoffends. They do work in almost 30 cities around the country. They're a great nonprofit. We love the work they're doing. This is a tricky challenge for us because it's funded through December because of American Rescue Plan funding, but not funded after that. So we're actively working, trying to figure out a way we may be able to help them. We're trying to figure out whether our federal money might be able to help them, but we're very proud of the work, but worried about sustaining it as ARP money starts to go away. We run something called the KCAC, the College Access Center, and the city helps to fund this. It used to be funded by 2 federal grants. We still have one of those federal grants that serves high school kids in 7 high schools, but the part that serves adult, we lost the grant after 30 years about 4 years ago. The city stepped in to keep that service going because we're serving over 2,000 adults every year who need some help applying to college. Hey, I've never done this before. I'm the first in my family to do it. I've never filled out this financial aid form. I don't know what to study. We hold their hand all the way through that process. The staff is awesome. They're great. You see, between the high school and the adult program, we've served over 3,000 people last year, and about 500 of them were people that speak English as a second language. So we're also helping people, once they've gotten here, who want to pursue an education in English because they know that's something that would help them get a better job down the road. That is services for adults. I'm happy to take any questions whenever you want, or I can wait to the end, but just if you have them, let me know, because otherwise I'll just go through the slide just so you're aware of what we do. The next thing, there was a great story on WDRB yesterday, Stefan Johnson, about the Spot. This is a partnership with Goodwill of Kentucky, and we are very proud of the work that they are doing. We call the part that we fund the Spot, and they are now doing that work in 2 locations. At a big new young adult opportunity center at 2nd and Chestnut, the Goodwill bought and renovated, and at a spot in Shively, or just outside of the city lines of Shively in the Southland Terrace Mall. We are serving 16 to 24-year-olds, mainly 18 to 24-year-olds who are not in school and not working. There are thousands of these young adults in Louisville. The census shows there are something like 12,000 across the MSA, and about 3/4 of them are going to be in Louisville. So we're talking about 8,000 or 9,000 people in their prime young adult age, not in school and not working. We are trying to get connected to them, get them in, and run them through a set of workforce development trainings. If they need a GED, we connect them to that. If they're struggling for housing, Goodwill and the team on the ground, along with other housing professionals, try to help them solve that. So ultimately, we turn them into people that get jobs and become productive members of society. We do this all day long. We love doing it. Kentuckiana Works has funded and overseen the biggest program that serves this population for 25 years. This is a core strength and a core passion of ours, and the city is now the biggest funder. I'm also looking at Councilman Syme, because the state last year gave us money for gave the 10 workforce boards for the first time ever, funding to serve this population as well. So now we have a mix of city money, state money, and federal money serving this population, which is part of why the program is growing. We're really excited about it. You see, just last year, 581 new enrollments with 172 people getting jobs. As we've located in 2, we're hoping that number's growing this year and will keep growing. Word of mouth is quite positive. For in-school youth, the city is the core funder of a program called SummerWorks, which is the city's summer job program. You've been the core funder of that. We raise outside money too, so this year the program will be about $1.4 million. $1 million comes from the city and $400,000 comes from other places that I just scramble to try to raise when I can. There are 2 core elements to it that are separate, and I want to make sure you understand the 2 core elements. 3,400 kids registered. We try to get every employer that's hiring kids in the summer to post their jobs on our SummerWorks website so kids can apply directly. 3,400 kids registered, over 5,000 applications filled out just on our website last summer. It's hard for us to get data from private sector employers. Did you hire kids? How many did you hire? It's hard for us to get the data from the kids. Did you get a job? Did you get it with our help? So I can't tell you how many of those kids got a job, but I know we matched a lot of them with jobs. We use some of our funding to sponsor kids to work at nonprofits or in local government agencies. That's what the 270 number is. And those kids worked. They learned technology skills. They were working over at the Speed School. They were getting trained in the Finishing Trades Institute, which is the Painters and Glazers Union. We had people working at nonprofits like KMAC Museum and others. So kids get great experience. It opens up the world. When we did the end of the year press conference at KMAC last year, we had a person who worked there as a summer intern in 2017 who's now a permanent member of their staff. She went off to college, she got interested in museums, and now she's working at the same museum. It's a really, really cool story. We appreciate your support on SummerWorks. This is the program, Councilman, that the state also gave us money to serve. They gave us money to serve more of those young adults, but they also saw around the state that no one is helping high school seniors who aren't going to college when they graduate. And about half of our JCBS graduates this year are not going to be in college when August and September rolls around. So for the first time ever, we're serving kids both at JCBS high schools and in all the 6 regional counties to try to help them get ready for hiring events. We know lots of employers are hiring, and we're going to be making matches and getting those kids connected up to good jobs with good career pathway opportunities. So we're excited about that. I should have said one thing at the beginning, which is we are a regional board. We do work across the 7 counties, but Louisville Metro Government is the only local government agency that gives us funding. So we do a lot more in Louisville than we do in the other counties. They get mad at me sometimes for that, but I try to explain to them that's because you all are investing in things like SummerWorks, and that's why we do more here than we do in other places. We also now have a team of 7 people who are waking up every day doing nothing but partnering with JCBS and the business community around the 15 high schools that they have that they now call the Academies of Louisville. So they reorganized all of their non-magnet high schools in 2016, and all of those high schools are now organized so that every upperclassman is in a career pathway. These are schools like my alma mater, PRP, Fairdale, Fern Creek, Southern, Moore, schools that have sort of gotten forgotten out there, right, as people thought only about the magnet schools. There is a tremendous amount of progress JCBS is making. They've helped these schools, when they started, 50% of their graduates were considered post-secondary ready, 50. Last year that number was 78. This year it's going to be over 80. They're doing amazing work, and my team and GLI have worked together. We now have over 230 businesses partnering with those individual schools. Councilman Benson, I'm looking at you because I know this is a passion of yours. You've brought it up to me before. I've been sending invites to all of you to come visit one of these schools. If you still want one of those invites, let me know. But there should be one in your inbox from me, right? We're setting up tours of these schools. You can come see it for yourself. There are vocational programs at every school now, and every kid is in one of these pathways as an upperclassman. Unbelievable stuff happening that's under the radar, and I'm trying to lift it up, and that's part of the work of the academies. Just a couple other things, Madam Chair, and I'll be finished. I have an expert on my team named Sarah Erisman. She is the Director of Labor Market Intelligence. If you have any question about what is happening in the labor market or the overall economy, if you need, send me an email and we will try to help you answer it. She routinely puts out reports about what's happening in the labor market. Is the unemployment rate going up or down? How many people are in the labor market? What's going on across the national level? She's writing reports every month that are updating you about a particular topic. If you're not getting our monthly newsletter and you want to be in the know about what's happening in the labor market, all you got to do is come up and write me a note, and I'll make sure we get you signed up for it, because she is an expert and we are thrilled to have her on the team. Here's an example of what that labor market update looks like when it comes out every month. Right? We are looking at this kind of stuff. This is where you see 1 in 8 of the region's young people were not in school and not in work in 2023. That's how big the problem is that we're trying to solve at the spot. You will see these updates. Usually what you have is updates on the unemployment rate and the size of the labor force, and then there's usually a special report on some topic. But if we're not covering it and you have a question, let us know, because we would be happy to try to do that. You can also go on our website, and I want you to know this because you may get questions from family members or from constituents. KentuckianaWorks.org/explore. You can type in any occupation. Here is showing you the key jobs that are growing in construction. And what you see at the bottom of the slide is, for electricians, we can show you the median salary in our MSA, not across the country, in your area. We can show you how many job openings are popping up every year. We can show you what the slope of the graph looks like in terms of, is it expected to grow or is it expected to shrink, and how many monthly job postings are happening. All of this is at your fingertips, on your computer, on your phone, KentuckianaWorks.org/explore. Lastly, I have a team of people who are working with employers trying to help them address retention issues. Sometimes retention issues have to do with some basic things employers might be able to change to make it better for their frontline workforce. So we have given a Workforce Investor Badge to the Masonic Homes. They made some basic changes in the way they were working with some of their frontline employers. They dramatically improved their retention rate. They helped address some of the turnover issues they were having, all by looking at some job quality things and listening to employees about things they could do to improve it. So got great stuff going on there. That was the last slide, other than connecting with us, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions, and I appreciate you letting me do that.
Thank you. I just want to say my great-granddaughter, she went to summer works. She went to the Brown School, and she got a job. And every year, she didn't apply again. They just called her back, and she worked. I think she started when she was about 15, but she's graduated from college now. So, but she did go through summer works, and she went back for, I think, 3 years in a row. And she
Fantastic.
really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So, does anybody have any questions? I know you do, Councilman Sam. Okay.
Councilman Winkler's in the queue also.
Winkler, we don't see him nowhere.
I see Councilman Winkler's hand up there. I didn't get a chance to say hello to you, Councilman Winkler, but welcome.
He was behind us.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm in the queue, Madam Chair.
Okay, sorry. Which one was first? Because I don't have it on here.
He's the only one in the queue.
May I proceed?
Yeah, yeah, Councilman.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Michael, thanks for being here. Appreciate the presentation. I had just one quick question. You talked a lot about the funding primarily through federal grants. I'm curious what sort of the impacts of the things that we're seeing at a federal level, if you know of any impacts to funding currently, or how you're preparing for potential impacts to funding.
So appreciate the question. We're an $18 million organization this year. About 6 of that is coming from federal sources. About 4.5 is coming from the city, 3 coming from the state, and then we're cobbling together other things where we can. When I went back and reread Project 2025, Councilman Winkler, it does not propose eliminating our funding stream, but I certainly think we are subject to taking a cut as Congress looks at ways to reduce their spending on the discretionary side. We don't have any information yet about what that might look like or how that might work. So Congress came very close to reauthorizing the law that creates workforce boards in December, but when the continuing resolution that they passed in December came up and it had a few things added to it, the thing that would have reauthorized us was one of the things that they had added to it, and it's one of the things that Mr. Musk and others got Congress to strip out. So we know there's bipartisan support for what we do, but given today's political climate, we don't really have any assurances about how that federal money will work or how much of it we'll get in the future. So that is a concern.
Did that answer your
Thank
question?
you, Michael. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Was it Councilwoman Hawkins was next? She was.
Hello, thanks for being here today. Just a couple questions. How are you getting the word out? Like, just how are you, navigating through different communities and just making sure that people are knowing that this resource is available?
So that's always a struggle because on the federal side, until recently, we were prohibited by law from advertising our programs. The Department of Labor finally clarified one of their regulations that allows us to advertise programs but not Kentuckiana Works. So we're trying to run Facebook ads and put signage out and work through community organizations. I mean, we do a lot with partners who serve low-income people to make sure they know about the Career Center in West Louisville, to make sure they know about Kentuckiana Builds. Part of why Congress wants us to contract that work out when we can is so the Urban League itself is getting the word out through people that they know. Goodwill is getting the word out through their network. But part of why I wanted to come is to make sure you all know, because you talk to a lot of people in your day-to-day world and would appreciate you helping to get the word out.
Right, which leads me back to what I was asking as far as Kentuckiana Works, because you said that the city is one of your biggest funders, right? Mm-hmm. But we also fund Goodwill, so that's just kind of double dipping to me. And I've used Kentuckiana Works years ago, and normally when I go inside there, I get on a computer and I navigate myself. I'm trying to look up on Indeed and different things like that to try to get a job. But I just wanted to know, you said that on a federal level you can't market, but then the city is giving you money. I would think that you should be able to market, but you said that you're going through Goodwill and a few other services, right? I just want to make sure that when Goodwill comes, Goodwill got all these contracts with different people, that's giving them money. I just want to see what's what, because if you're a standalone company or if you're contracting dollars that you're getting from the city out to these entities that we're already giving money to.
So let me clarify, because you raised a couple different things.
Yeah.
So on the federal side, we are allowed now to be advertising things like the Career Center or the job training scholarships. And so we are running Facebook ads, we have flyers up and all that sort of thing, and we try to get the word out through partners like the libraries and the Housing Authority and things like that. For something like SummerWorks that's funded by the city, we certainly can get the word out. And we have Youth Build, now called Blueprint 502, runs that program for us at the moment. And they also have staff people that are going out into the high schools getting kids to sign up. So you try to do it by getting the word out that way and through trusted partners. We'll have public events. We'll have a press conference with the mayor next week to announce the kickoff of SummerWorks this year. So you try to use free media whenever you can get it as well. I want to make sure on the Goodwill side, Goodwill, part of what we do, because there's federal money in the young adult work, we're required to contract that work out. So Goodwill won the contract 3 years ago in a procurement competition, right? And once we picked Goodwill, then we're able to also funnel the city money and now the state money that is targeted specifically for young adults into the program that we call the Spot. Part of what's useful about working with Goodwill as a partner is they are the only nonprofit that I've ever worked with that can bring their own money to the table, and so they bring their own resources to address sometimes issues that young adults have that our money can't be used for. So they can bring flexible money, and we really appreciate that. So the issue of what else you all fund them to do, I will leave to you. That is not my department, right? But all I would say is we're the workforce people. We're funding them to run a big workforce effort for young adults, and they are doing an excellent job of it. So that's on the Goodwill side. Does that help address the concern there, or at least the question?
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of got a better understanding just about, so you're at the top of the pyramid, and you just kind of buckle down and give different people money, right? Mm-hmm. Which takes me back to when those same people come in front of us, I just want to make sure that we're not giving them money to do the same thing.
Oh, got it.
Right? I
Yeah.
thought that Kentuckiana Works was just a grassroots, program that, meet people where they're at and not contract the work out, right? I'm a grassroots person, and just it's so many people that always complain, whether it's on social media, whether it's calling my office, just about resources for jobs, right? But I'm well aware of these entities, that you said that are doing the work for you. So I'm just glad to know that.
One, I love hearing that you use our services, so that's great. Again, make sure people know that that's completely free, that Kentucky Career Center at 28th and Broadway. And I do just want to clarify one other thing. The federal money that we get requires us to contract out that work. But increasingly, as we're getting other funding, we are running that work directly. So after the tassel work that I was describing that we're doing in high schools, that's a team of people that work for Kentuckiana Works. The work on the Academies of Louisville Alliance, the 7 people that are waking up every day thinking about that, work directly for me. So we are a little bit of a hybrid organization. Sometimes we're contracting out, sometimes we're not. And so that's why I know it's a little confusing. But as our funding has grown and we've tried to address more topics, particularly around high school kids, we're increasingly doing more of that work ourselves so that you know who to hold accountable and you know who's doing the work.
I had the same question that you did, but that's been quite a few years ago. It was the Housing Trust Fund. They would get $10 million from us, and then they would pass it out. And like the Urban League, they get so much, and different ones would get so much. And at the time, I did have a problem with it, but I finally had figured it out. But it's like then they come back and ask for funding, and they've already got funding from this one organization. So that's probably the reason Councilwoman Hawkins mentioned it, because I know it's been a while ago. That's the way it was before. So.
Makes sense. Just one thing to add about that, Code Louisville, which the city is funding, the people that run that program work directly for Kentuckiana Works. The College Access Center that's helping adults go back to college, those people work directly for Kentuckiana Works. So increasingly, the things you're funding as the city, we're running directly. So it's a mix, but I will say on the young adult thing, because the federal money was required to be bid out and Goodwill won that contract and was doing good work, as we found additional resources, we're plowing it into that program because they're doing such a good job.
Right. Was it? Let's do it. Okay. Did you?
Thank you, Michael. As you know, I've taught vocational education for 28 years. What you talked about, one of the things you was talking about holding on to people, well, for one thing, and sometimes it's hard for people that aren't tradespeople or skilled labor to understand. Most of the people I've dealt with most of my life is educated people, formal educated, and it's like talking to a wall. It doesn't make any sense. And I've almost, I've been here for 22 years. If you really want, and I've tried to tell the mayor, if you want to hold on to somebody, one of the things is they need to know what they're working for. And the state will help up every employer set up an apprenticeship program. And they'll work up a curriculum, and after 4 years, they get a certificate that most of the people that I went through the apprenticeship, I'm a tool and die maker. GE spent about $100,000 back in the 60s, and now they say that being a tool and die maker to train somebody is about $370,000. And I know that, I'm not all that smart, but I can go any place in the world and get a job because I'm a tool maker. And most people don't even know what I can do. They see some of the things I do around my house, and I say, anybody can do what I do. I said, I can hold close tolerances. I can build tooling that makes everybody's life a little bit easier. So I think, if we can get more, because when I taught school, people talk about how smart somebody is. Oh, that person's really smart. You show me a person who's turned on or excited about what they're doing, all of a sudden they look really smart because they put in the time. Time is related to how much you're doing, how much you get. And so if you can help some of these companies say, hey, if you want to hold on to your employees, let's set up a program that they know they're working towards something, because all jobs are learned on the job. You might learn how to multiply and subtract and whatever in school, but in the real world, you learn how to use it. And to me, I just think we have as much as talent in our community as any place. They're not trained, and we need more people to be trained. And if we can start, and you're doing that now, to me, we have all kinds of people who want to stop skilled labor. They want everybody to go to college. When I was at Southern High School, that's all they talk, college. So I asked the principal one day, I said, how many people from Southern High School go to college? He said 18%. I said, 18%? You think you'd get 18% if you didn't say anything? I said, my question is, what about the 82 that's not going to college? As far as I'm concerned, everybody needs a job. And when you get out of school and you can't get a job, school didn't help you. Everybody needs to work, and we need to help that person find their passion. If we can do that, we don't have any problem at all. And so to me, one year I had everybody working. I put over 500 kids in jobs, but this year I had everybody was working, but 2 guys are going to college. And I had two companies that came in with really great apprenticeship programs. I said, you guys, you sure you don't want this? I'm going to college. And so I asked them, I said, how much do they pay you? He said, what? I said, how much do they pay you to go to college? And he said, you got to pay. I said, oh, you pay. I said, this company is going to train you, and they're going to pay you to learn. And when you graduate from their program, you're not an apprentice anymore. You're a journeyman, and you may talk money. And I don't know how much money you think you're going to make, but there's how much, in 1995, I had trouble with the school. They didn't like the way I taught. And so I went to work at Ford Motor Company during the summer. And back in 95, they paid $25 an hour. And you had to work all the overtime. So I was making about $2,000 every week. And then a job at Southern came open, another school, because I was at J-Town. And I quit and went to Southern. And they said, he said, you're making a lot of money. I said, you do not know how much fun it is to be with these kids. And to me, if every person can find a job they like, it's not a job, it's fun. And our goal is to help people find their passion. And sometimes, you know, you think, I'll go to those schools and see. I'm not really impressed. The schools, for example, Frankfurt, years ago, they made something really great. They made sure that all kids couldn't get a driver's license until they're about 18 years old. You know, if you put a kid on it, you know, I could put a kid on a co-op job at 16 or 15 years old. But most people can't get to a job unless they could drive. We eliminated vocational education. You couldn't. And the secret of vocational education is co-op. You know, I used to, employers would call and say, have you got anybody? I said, I'll give you somebody for 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, you tell me if you like him or not, because I don't want this kid to be depressed if you say he's fired and you send him back. But I'm telling the kid that you're needing a lot of help, and you go there for 2 weeks, and you tell me if you want him. Well, I only had one kid in 28 years that the guy ever sent back, and he was expecting way more than. But it's important, and a kid really has a good experience on a job, but the employer's got to make money, has to make money. So the hardest part I ever had teaching school was not teaching skills, was teaching a kid how to be employable. That was important. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No. You know, these kids, you know, they look good when they went out on a job interview. So I wish that, you know, see, in the vocationals, I mean, in the high schools, they took the vocational programs and they started making 7-period days. And you don't have enough time. And when you do that, you can't hardly put a kid on a co-op job because the way the scheduling stuff. And
Here's what I would love for you to do. I would love for you to come on a tour of one of these academies of Louisville High School, including if you want to come back and see what Southern is doing, because they are doing amazing
well, I know
stuff.
they got a new machine shop.
Well, but I mean, other schools have machine shops. You can't do every vocational at every school.
No.
But they've parceled them out so that at every school there are career pathways. Every upperclassman is in one. And kids are earning certifications now in healthcare, in manufacturing, in welding, in construction, in culinary, while they're in high school, that line up with certifications that employers are asking for. So a big part of the vision that I've heard you describe multiple times is actually happening in these schools. But until I get people to come out and see them, people don't believe me. So that's where seeing is believing. If you come and see it, and then you tell me gritting that isn't it, that'd be different. But I will follow up when I get back to my office and make sure you know about the tour dates.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Councilman Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question on reentry. Where are you recruiting from? How are you getting word out to those coming out that are looking to?
So CEO is the group that runs that, and they have relationships with the it's essentially the state prison is a big chunk of it, but a lot of it is also word of mouth, where when people are getting out, they're connecting to people that have already been helped by them and served by them well. So they are trying to identify people as they're coming out and trying to catch them before they land in the neighborhood.
Have you heard of a group called Prisoners Hope?
No.
Daryl Davis that does exactly that?
Mm-mm.
Well, I'd invite you to look them up.
Okay.
Prisoners Hope, who do get these folks ready for the workforce.
I will do it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Michael. So question, can we get a copy of the slide deck to share with some of our
Absolutely. The
constituents?
clerk has it. I'm happy for
Okay.
you all to distribute it. It'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Okay. Do we have any more concerns or questions? Hearing none, we have no more business before us, so we are adjourned.
Great. Thank you all for the time.
Thank you for being here.
Good to see you.